we are going to get into being thankful for all these Big Ten rivalries, and we're just going to start it off with one of the biggest, and that is Wisconsin at Minnesota. Oh boy, with this is a huge game for both these teams. Obviously, Minnesota needs, I shouldn't say need. They obviously really want to get the axe there, and anybody that loses to Wisconsin, just has this like dark cloud over them for a long time. So you don't want that to
Mm.
happen. And then Wisconsin, they've won two of their last three games. They're not going to go to a bowl game, but it would be some really good momentum going into the off season, and you would be able to work into the portal and stuff like that. They say they're going to get some more funding. This is a game that has the series tied at 63 to 63. The border battle playing for the Paul Bunyan Axe. Minnesota did win the last meeting. I believe that was 24 to 7 over Wisconsin. Zach, what are your thoughts on this game?
This is a hard. It's funny actually. A lot of these games I really wrestled with because I think different teams are peaking at the right time, whereas I think other teams they have been either stagnant or they felt like they've been fading. And I feel like that is part of the storyline of this game is that Minnesota is the favorite, they're the home team, and yet to me they do not look like they have advanced and gotten better over the season, whereas Wisconsin has looked much better as of late. Their defense is playing really well. I mean, they've allowed 10 points to each Washington and Illinois, and those are two very good offenses. And Carter Smith, we've talked about it. He's not been great, right? Like I think he's averaging like 90 yards passing a game, but he is confident. And I think that really matters. Now, the big question I think for Wisconsin is can they bring this act on the road? Because they are going to Minnesota. Minnesota is defending the axe. And Minnesota, while they're bowl eligible, they do want to build momentum, I think, into bowl season. So I think the two questions I have is that does momentum continue to carry for Wisconsin? And can Minnesota defend home turf?
Yes, I think that vibes are pretty low on Minnesota right now because of what happened against Northwestern. Um, but as we pointed out in the recap, that Minnesota did have opportunities to win that game. Their kicking just didn't put them in the best place possible there. Their special teams showed up in that one. Coy Parrish had a what was it, like a 93-yard kick return touchdown in that one. So like they're going to be able to get some production from other places outside of the offense. If Wisconsin allows them to do that. Coy Parrish is a playmaker for them and everything else. So if Wisconsin's not on their T's and Q's for the entire game, Minnesota's going to find a way. But I just don't think Wisconsin plays the brand of football that we talked about needs to happen to beat Minnesota, right? If you want to beat Minnesota, you have to get on them early. Yes, they have the pass rush to be able to beat Minnesota, but it's on the road for Wisconsin. Like, I think this Wisconsin team's a really good story, and I think what we've seen from them against Illinois and Washington has been really good, but it's just tough to continue to predict that's going to happen when that hasn't been the case all season long. Maybe they have figured it out with Carter Smith. Maybe Darian Dupree is that running back they need to get out there and make things happen running the ball. But I still think this Minnesota defense has some strength on their defense. I still think they have some playmakers. I still think Kerry Brown and Coy Parrish are a good wide receiver safety duo. Is it elite? No. Is it as good as we thought in the preseason? No, but I still think they got some talent there, and I think I'm going to pick Minnesota to win this game. But I'll be honest, I don't feel super confident in it.
I don't think anybody should feel confident about any pick in this game because I think there are a lot of variables. Here's maybe my biggest question is are Minnesota's running backs reliable and can they be themselves in this game? Darius Taylor has not looked like himself at all. I didn't think he looked great against Northwestern. Um,
But do they need
and
to be? That's the other question, right?
Well, but and this is where I start to wonder: is this Wisconsin's game to lose? Is if Minnesota can't run the ball, you have a Wisconsin pass rush that's gotten better and better that can pin their ears back and go after a freshman quarterback. That just feels like a rough thing. And here's the other thing. Minnesota's home. That should be good. But is there a world where Minnesota is struggling and unable to string drives together and they're 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out to the point where the crowd starts to turn on them? And you just kind of feel the sense of dread, like, uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. And then for Wisconsin, the dam breaks and they get a turnover. It's very similar to how they beat Washington, right? Like they didn't have a lot of offense in that game. Even against Illinois, they didn't have a lot of offense in that game, but they wore down two honestly much better quarterbacks in this stage of their careers in Damon Williams and Luke Altmaier. I think Drake Lindsey is going to be a stud. I think he's on his way there. But both Washington and Illinois have better skill positions. Both Washington and Illinois, I think, have better quarterbacks. And now we're saying that we think that Minnesota has better personnel to handle Wisconsin's pass rush. You might be right. I think that's where I am hesitant to say that Minnesota has the edge in this game.
I do think home field for Minnesota matters. I do think that Drake Lindsey, the way he's played when they don't have a running game, matters. I said it like you are. It is not sustainable to not have a running game for Minnesota, but you can still win a few games here and there. And if they're going to be able to win a game, I do think this is the game where they could possibly win to make that happen. Now, the X factor for me is this Wisconsin offense because I don't think Minnesota scores more than 20 points in this game at most.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's their at most. But if Wisconsin can come out and do well against this Minnesota defense, hold Anthony Smith to not hold him, but you know what I mean, like not let him go crazy getting sacks, Wisconsin has a good chance to win this game. And Wisconsin, the past 4 weeks, you know, they've done against the spread the past 4 weeks.
Well, I mean, they've beaten the team, so it doesn't matter. I mean, they've covered the spread.
They've covered the spread the last 4 weeks. They covered the spread against Illinois and Washington. They covered the spread against Oregon at Oregon, and they covered the spread against Indiana at Indiana.
Yeah.
So, and this spread is only 1.5 in favor of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, my gut tells me Minnesota, so I'm going to pick Minnesota to win this game 20-17. I don't feel great about it. I'm probably wrong. Because I think I even have some Minnesota fans that would tell me I'm wrong. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't win the X. But I think Minnesota has shown more throughout the season. Wisconsin has shown more lately.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with Minnesota. Are you going with Wisconsin?
Guess what my score is?
20-17.
20-17 was Wisconsin over Minnesota.
Wisconsin. I was wondering when you were nodding your head to the 20. I was like, you might have.
We did it again. We did it again.
Philip says Wisconsin's defense held Indiana down for a half and limited Oregon to 21, both on the road, both much better than Minnesota. I think Wisconsin could win comfortably. I do think the Oregon thing, you do have to take into account the rain and the weather and stuff like that for that one. And then Indiana did eventually, you know, open it up and get the win there. But, I mean, get the win. They were winning at halftime. But I also think that Wisconsin's bad field goal kicking could come back to bite them in this one. Like, that's one of the reasons why I did not pick Wisconsin to get 20 points was because I don't know if their field goal kicker can hit 2 field goals in one game.
Did it against Illinois.
If he's not done it any other time this season.
I know. Just
So,
momentum, positive momentum.
positive momentum. We'll see. So
I think the other thing, I think Fickle kind of almost is coaching like he's got nothing to lose because he does it. Like he's got the vote of confidence, and now all of a sudden he looks so much more relaxed, and I feel like he makes decisions in a much like different way. I don't know. You can just tell when a coach is coaching more freely, and that's the sense I've gotten the past couple weeks with Wisconsin.
Yeah, I agree.